Class 3 outside the show ring, please. Also, just a reminder, probably remind you more than you don't want to hear, but you must turn in yours if you're going to sell an animal at the livestock sale. You need to turn in your sheets by 5 p.m. today at the 4-H office. So please don't forget to do that. There'll be no exceptions. And then when they fill out the sales sheet, if you see any name changes, corrections, whatever, those must be done by 9 a.m. on Sunday, and otherwise the sale order will stand. So please get those sheets signed, or those animals signed up by 5 p.m. today. And also, we have a sheet, they call it a destination sheet. So all market animals, or all market beef, must fill out the destination sheet. That's just an extra, it's a green sheet. And it tells whether that calf that they're going to sell is going to go to the locker, to packing plant, to home, or they're going to take it home. So those are the things that need to be done. So don't forget to do that. Those green sheets will be over there when you turn in your sale cards.
Well, it's always interesting here in these lightweight classes, like I said, in the market heifers, just to see and project them into the future. There's a lot to read. I guess for me, if you're looking at them today and understanding that their endpoint is far from now, to me, the best potential is in the black steer that comes in our first hole. I think a steer that just skeletally sets itself apart and far exceeds probably the two steers that come next in terms of the way he's built skeletally. I think he gives you a nice look, and he's one that's not devoid of muscle. I think he's got some dimension as you read him down his top and out to the outside of the top of his hip. He maybe wants to play out just a little bit down low. Certainly could set him wider at the ground. The two steers that come next, I think, are the two steers that you want to tie to when it comes to just sheer power. This white cap is big topped. He's got a ton of dimension when you get in behind him. Skeletally, we need to change him off of both ends. He's one that just gets too upright in the angle of his shoulder. He wants to push forward in his knee, and we need to open him up in his forerib. He's just a little bit harder and coarser in the way he's built. Same can be said about the steer that comes next. This one's really shapely and expressive. One that really is square top, takes a crisp turn down his top. He's one that just gets far too straight in the angles of his shoulder. Want to relax him in his hock. I just worry that he's going to get pretty far outside of himself down the road. The calf that comes next, I think, again, offers some functionality within this class. A good structured calf that's better in his angles. He's good bodied. I just want to power this one up, especially as you read him down the top side of his skeleton. He just reads too plain today. That comes out next. Excuse me. The calf that comes out next, I think, is a little bit stouter in terms of his feature. He's bigger footed. He's got some more bone to him. He's one that maybe just doesn't offer the coordination that he needs to off those hind wheels. Just needs a little bit more time to catch up to the other ones, and when we study him in his lower quarter as well. The calf that comes out next, this is one that intrigued me, and unfortunately maybe doesn't have the rate of gain that we needed. But I think that this calf is one that maybe matches our class winner in terms of some look and functionality while still offering some muscle. The young lady maybe down the road can show that one again as she puts some more weight on them. Then the two calves that round out our class, I think, just need some more time on feed, some more dimension to be competitive. Let's give those young people a nice hand.
First with the purple in that class went to Brooklyn Sedlak. Second purple, Shelby Heitman. Third purple, Wyatt Roan. Fourth blue, Ella Klusman. Fifth blue, Max Herman. Sixth blue, Dyke. And seventh with the blue, Quentin Holmquist. Eighth with the blue, Thomas Hundeke. Now we have our second class coming into the show ring. And then we have a scratch on this one. Ashlyn Forthman's calf was a scratch on this class. Okay, we need Max Harmon and Brooklyn Sudler. Your calves outside the show ring. Max Harmon, Brooklyn Sudler.
I think we've got a nice class here. Again, we're judging some lighter weights, so rooting them into the future and seeing where we're going to be at the end point. And I think the young lady does a nice job. Clearly a highly presented steer that she's done some work on with. And I think a steer that if you just study him in terms of market basics, that guy's big hipped, he's stout pinned, he's going to have some dimension, especially out of the upper portions of his hip. He's one that is really green today. I think he's going to take some time to put some cover on him and really get that fresh square shape down his top. But I think skeletally, he's probably got some true advantages where he's going to reach that point and be comfortable, and he's got the added look and balance as well. The calf that comes in second, I think probably reads with just a touch more dimension down, especially right there behind his shoulder. It's a good bodied calf that's got some finish on him already. Want to square him up in how he handles his hip and hock. Maybe one that you want to lay back on the angle of his shoulder as well. I think the other kind of decent built one is the Hereford steer that comes in. I think when the young lady gets him stuck, he can give us a nice look. He's long and extended there through his front 1/3. He's level topped. He's one that maybe if you just read him right down at his spine, just needs to square up with some more dimension, has some maybe genetic differences or discredits there as you compare him to maybe some crossbred steers ahead of him, but certainly like the skeletal quality in him. And I think that's why I switched that pair of steers there here between him and this white calf that comes next. This white calf has certainly got more power wherever you analyze him. He just needs to be reorganized skeletally, laying back in his shoulder, level him out there through his hip. He's just a little too tightly wound, but certainly offers some dimension. The calf that comes next, one that probably has some advantages in terms of his easy feeding type. I think he's a little bit more correct, especially if you study him through his lower rib and how he transitions back there through his flank. He's one that just needs a shot more power wherever you view him, but especially right there behind his shoulder. We get into these calves here that maybe we're at a disadvantage when it comes to rate of gain. But we've got a silver calf that probably without that would have worked his way up because I think he's got some dimension and power. He's one that maybe structurally we can change a few things on, but still a product-oriented calf. Then the three calves that we round out the class with, I think big, high-performing calves. They just need some more groceries to fill into their frame, especially that red and white calf there at the end of the line. I would like to see him fill out a little bit more, especially in terms of muscle. As you study him going away and maybe as you handle him over his ribs, I think he'd be pretty bare. Let's give all those young people a nice hand.
First in that class with the purple, Grace Crozier. Second with the purple, Emily Goodspeed. Third with the purple, Mackenzie Brewer. Fourth with the purple, Levi Young. Fifth with the blue, Grant Howard. Sixth blue, Madeline Pierce. Seventh with the blue, Emily Sorton. Eighth with the red, Ellen Guzman. And ninth with the red, Thomas Tunningham.
6, then 2 middle, and then
So we have class 3 coming into the show ring, and we need class 4 outside, class 4 outside the show ring. you're getting hungry, we're gonna stop for lunch, but you can slip out of the show ring here and go to the east side of the arena, and the cattlemen are serving steak sandwiches and hamburgers and cheeseburgers. So slip on over there and get right back and eat your sandwich here. We need class 4 to line up outside the show ring. Class 4 outside the show ring, please. We need class 5 outside the show ring. Class 5, line up outside the show ring, please.
A total of 8 if that helps.
Yep, park it right out there. The steers, I think that when it just comes down to the basics, this calf wins. I think he's big topped. He's got some hip shape to him. Skeletally, you maybe want to change some things. He's not the prettiest up there through his front 1/3, laying back in the angle of his shoulder. But I think just in terms of productivity, he's certainly got some advantages here. The calf that comes next, I think one that, again, squares up with some shape right there behind his shoulder. He's fresh over his loin. He's one that I need to drop down in terms of his body. And I think as you study him right there behind his shoulder, you could open him up there in his forearm as well. Probably one looking calves in this class, though. And I think we have some advantages there. The calf that comes out next, I think one that from the side, he reads over in terms of his hip. He's really level down his spine and square out of his hip there. He's one that for me maybe just gets a little too upright in the angle of his shoulder, wants to knuckle up on those lower joints ever so slightly, want to make him more comfortable in motion. The calf that comes next, unfortunately, a little bit of a disadvantage to rate of gain. I think one that really shapely up high, I think one that's round bodied, it allows him to offer the width at the top side of his skeleton. He's one that can be changed in his lower skeleton. Want to straighten him out there, square him up, especially as he goes away from you. The calf that comes next, a really good body steer. This one's productive, pretty easy feeding type of a calf. As we start to finish him out, he's one that just maybe wants to plane up in his muscle shape, give him a shot more power when you get in behind him. The calf that comes next, one that's more moderate in his type and kind. I think he's already starting to push quite a bit of finish there as you study him over his ribs and maybe wants to drop it down in his chest as well. Want to him up in his shape. Two calves that round out our class, big, high-performing type of steers. I think just a little bit more time on feed for them to fill into that added frame that they offer today. Let's give those individuals a hand.
First in that class with the purple, Wyatt Roan. Second purple, Brooklyn Sedlick. Third purple, Parker Lears. Fourth blue, Emily Goodspeed. Fifth blue, Max Harmon. Sixth with the blue, Jacob Pollock. Seventh with the blue, Grace Pierce. And eighth with the blue, Landon Leaders. Now we have class 4 inside the show ring.
Right up here, Cameron.
Shelby Borthman, we need your calf outside the show ring. Shelby Borthman, outside the show ring, please.
We need all first and second class winners from Division 1 to report to the show ring, please.
This is one of our more competitive classes that we've seen yet, and as we break it down, and I didn't go through and handle all of them. I think that you can see some true advantages just by visualizing and seeing them as you read them down their top, what they're going to have in terms of product. And then as we want to get a little bit more nitpicky, reading the shape that they offer in terms of muscle and where they're at when it comes to finish. I went through and got 5 calves here because I think there is some differences there. We end up with a pair of calves here at the top end that I think are pretty nice. The steer that I'm going to use to win the class is maybe just a little bit more moderate than what I would prefer. If we could lengthen him out in his maturity, I think he wins it pretty handily. But this is the big body steer. He's easily the most massive as you read him down his top and out there through his hip. And I still think that he's functional enough in his skeleton. Again, if you could just lengthen him out, I think he'd proportion a little bit more ideally. We find that added length and extension in the steer that comes second. This steer is maybe one that's just a little bit greener yet today. I think if you could drop him down in his flank, he maybe reads just a little bit further along. He's got a really nice hair coat on him. The young lady's done a nice job preparing him. You read past that hair, and he's still really shapely and expressive right there behind his shoulder and back there through his loin. The white calf that comes next is another product-oriented steer that's really shapely right there over his loin. Reads really nice there through his hip. And he probably has an advantage over the calf ahead of him as you read him out there through his hip and the amount of dimension that he offers. Just want to reorganize him off of either end of his skeleton, allow him to get out and really motor. The calf that comes next is a deep-bodied calf that appears to be pretty easy feeding. Young man does a nice job showing him as well. He's one that just needs to be squared up in his shape, freshen him up, especially right there behind his shoulder. The calf that comes next, one that I actually prefer when it comes to look. I think he's one that's a little bit more organized and neater about his front 1/3. I just wish that we could back it up with just a touch more power, especially as we get in behind. There's a couple calves here that I think are fairly similar. They just read a little bit fairer in terms of their finish. Want to open them up in their forerib, and I think that'll allow them to mass up just a little bit better up high. And then we get into a few calves here at the bottom end that I think have got some length. They've got some performance to them. Maybe just going to take a little bit more time time on feed for them to fill into that added frame advantage that they have. Let's give all those young people a nice hand.
First with the purple in that class, Bree Barrier. Second with the purple, Grace Crozier. Third, purple, Haley Poland. Fourth, purple, Kate Miller. Fifth with the purple, Emma Flathers. Sixth with the blue, Jack Handlow. Seventh blue, Carly. Eighth blue, Cameron Cook. Ninth blue, Hayden Pollock. And 10th with the blue, Quentin Mulquist. We have class 5 coming into the show ring, and then we will pick our champion and our reserve Division 1.
So that purple, if you can just stay two more. Six.
Well, I think this was probably one of the more challenging classes for me to sort today. I think there's maybe some skeletal things that we'd like to change them up here at the top end. But when we just keep it simple, I think that we've got a trio of white calves up here and a black calf right after that, that all have some product and dimension to them. The steer that I'm going to use to win the class, I think he's just a little bit leveler in terms of his build. I think he ties in stronger right there behind his shoulder. He's got some added length and extension as we compare him to the two steers that come next. The calf that comes out in our second hole, this is a good bodied steer, especially as you read him through his midrib. He's one that's functional enough in terms of his skeleton. He's not the prettiest one. You maybe want to tie him in square there in terms of his shoulder, but I think in terms of product, he's got some advantages. The calf that comes next, I think one that's really square, and he's got a lot of upward shape there to his loin. He's one that can get really round and kind of off in his hip, but I like the added body. I think that allows him to lay some more dimension down the top side of his skeleton. The black calf that comes next, I think one, as you read him right there behind his shoulder, he's got some shape and dimension there. He's one that just gets a little bit off balance. Want to give him a shot more foot and bone underneath of him, lay him back in the angle of his shoulder and maybe fill him out in his forehead. The calf that comes next is one that's probably built just a little bit smoother there in terms of how he blends. I think he gets a little bit more uncoordinated in how he handles his skeleton, doesn't have near the shape, especially going away from you. As we get into maybe a couple steers that come next, I think functional steers probably upgrade skeletally than what we see at some of the top end, but fundamentally we just got to see them with some more muscle. We've got a steer there at the end of the line that I think has just got some added finish. He comes in a little bit more moderate package. We could extend him out, freshen him up in his shape. He could be more competitive. Let's give all those young people a nice hand.
First in that class was Shelby Heitman with the purple, and second with the purple, Coy Combs. Third with the purple, Allison Black. Fourth, blue, Shelby Northman. Fifth, blue, Kaylee Dyke. Sixth with the blue, Tristan Northman. Seventh with the blue, Ken Elliott. Eighth with the blue, Timor, and ninth with the blue, Hudson Ross. Now we'll pick our champion Division I steer. Jada James, Andrew Peterson, and Caden Miller in the outside the show ring. Class 1, Division 2. Jada James, Andrew Peterson, Caden Miller.
Well, a nice initial lineup for our first division here. I think we've maybe got some variation in our class winners, but I think they do the basics right and they all provide some muscle, and we can read them into the future and see how they're going to finish out. I think that there's maybe a couple of steers out here in our class winners and maybe a couple seconds that really maybe take it a step further and offer some pieces of balance and unique look without rising skeletal qualities. So I'm going to go shake the hand of your first division champion, and then we'll take a look for reserve. But let's give all of our first division exhibitors a hand.
Our champion Division 1 steer was shown by Bree Barrier, and she'll be presented a medal hanger donated by Southwest Iowa Farm Business Association. And our reserve is shown by Crozier. Congratulations. We need Division 2, Class 2 and 3 outside the show ring, Class 2 and 3 outside the show ring. If you're missing a cell phone, we do have another cell phone over here at the announcer's desk. Come and claim it.
Find a really complete steer here to win the class, one that's good bodied, lays a ton of mass and dimension down the top side of his skeleton. He's big hipped. He's one that certainly isn't super unique there through his front 1/3, but I'm willing to give up a little with all the mass and power that he offers from their back. The steer that comes out next certainly has an advantage there. He's longer, he's more extended, he's more up-headed steer that's level down his top. Just want to give him a shot more body. If you study him there in his forerib, allow him to have a little better turn down there through his flanks, soften him up just a touch, and I think it becomes more competitive. This steer that comes out in our third hole, one that from a build perspective, I want to change quite a few things on. But one thing you can't take away from him, he's super expressive down his top, very crisp shape down there through his spine, and he offers a lot of dimension going away from you. You just want to change him off of either end. The red cap that comes out next is certainly a little bit more organized skeletally. I think he's longer and more extended. He has flexibility there through his spine and out there through his hip. This one just seems to be powered up and opened up at the base of his skeleton. The steer that comes out next is a big bodied calf that's got some dimension. Want to square him up in the shape that he offers. He just gets a little plainer and staler in his look and the muscle pattern that he lays down his top. The calf that comes out next is another deep bodied steer that's really far along in terms of his finish. Would want to match that with a little bit more muscle to him. The calf that comes next, young man does a nice job showing him. A steer that's really flexible. Gets around the ring nicely. I want to just match that compositionally and give him a shot more product. So let's give all those young people a nice hand.
First with the purple was shown by Lily Casson. Second purple, Kate Miller. Third blue, Zach Elliott. Fourth blue, Mason Shipman. Fifth blue, Logan Young. Sixth blue, Jada James. And seventh with the blue, Andrew Peterson. Now we have class 2 coming into the ring. We need classes 3 and 4 outside the show ring. After midnight tonight, there will be no parking south of the yellow rope out here for parking of trailers for the shootout for tomorrow. So after midnight tonight, no parking south of the yellow rope. Your vehicle will be towed if you're parked there. And don't forget to go over and get a steak sandwich or a hamburger from the cattleman. we need Shelby Eichman, outside the show ring, Shelby Eichman. And then class four, you need to be making yourself, or working your way over here to the outside the show ring.
It's got to figure out. I gotta know how to turn it on. You show me how to turn it around? Yeah, that is good.
A really competitive class out here, and I think there's some give and take on the top end amongst these three. They're probably the most complete top end class that we've seen, and that makes it fun because we get to pick apart the slight differences. I guess I'm just going to leave them lined up the way they are, and that's how they'll be placed. The steer there at the front end of the line, this is the big topped, big hip steer. That is good bodied. He's really just one that lays a ton of mass and dimension. I think he proportions out. I'll be the first to admit he gets a little too moderate in terms of his maturity pattern. You maybe want to lengthen him out there through his front 1/3 especially. But I think one that is just complete enough for me. He's good bodied, sound structured. That's just a good place to start. The steer that comes in second, this is the one that I want to tie to in terms of look. I think one that's a little bit more up-headed. I think he's more uniform in how he ties his top line together. I lengthened him out in his hip and just give him a shot more lower quarter. I think this becomes extremely competitive. But those are the places that I need to change him. He maybe just slightly lay him back in the angle of his shoulder as well. The black and white calf, you get your hands on this one. He's very shapely and expressive, especially right there behind his shoulder. I think he matches that one that we have in second in terms of his added length and extension. I guess for me, he's one that maybe wants to drop down in his chest. As we study him in motion, he gets a little bit more uncoordinated in how he wants to handle the top side of his hip, but still a really nice steer to be sitting third. The calf that comes out next, I think one, if you step in behind him, you're automatically impressed. He's stout pinned, he's got a lot of dimension, he's stout in his feature at the ground. Want to reorganize him skeletally, lay him back in his shoulder, modify him and how he handles his hind wheels. The calf that comes has certainly got a skeletal upgrade. He's one that's just a little bit more comfortable and offers some more fluidity and motion. One that just needs to be shaped up. Offers some more fresh square shape right there behind his shoulder, especially. The calf that comes out next, I think one that maybe we want to change skeletally as well off of both ends. And then we round out the class with a high performing steer that's just got a lot of size to him. Going to take a little bit more time for him to fill out. Let's give all those young people a nice hand.
First with the purple in that class was Mason Shipman. Second, purple, Maverick Cow. Third, purple, James Vandevanter. Fourth, with the blue, Luke Christensen. Fifth, blue, Malloy Helvey. Sixth, with the blue, Carter Davis. Seventh, with the red, Andrew Peterson. And Madison Osborne, we need your calf inside the show ring. Or no, outside the show ring. Madison Osborne, outside the show ring, please. And then we should have class 5 start coming over this way.
Well, young lady makes my job easy here on the top end. She brings us a really nice calf, one that's really expressive and shapely, very dimensional when you get in behind him. And then she does a nice job of getting a good look out of him as well. Structured calf. It's just an easy place to start. Precision there. The black steer that we have sitting in second, I think this offers a tad more dimension as you step in behind him. I think one that maybe you want to lay back in the angle of his shoulder, but it kind of works to his advantage a little bit because it allows him to really get his head up off the top side of his shoulder there. I still think in motion, maybe there's just some things you want to loosen him up there and allow him to really get out and motor up front. The Hereford steer, this one's just really functional. That's a nice steer that certainly a lot of people that are in the cattle industry would love to feed that kind of cattle out just because they're so easy feeding in terms of body shape and the amount of finish that they put on. Just want to give him a shot more power as you study him going away. Maybe square him up, open him up at the ground. The blonde calf that comes next, this one's big hipped. He's stout pinned. He's got a lot of width up high. I guess with that width, a lot of what we're seeing now is plenty of cover on him. Want to just freshen him up in the shape that he offers down the top side of his skeleton, bring it more within himself skeletally as well. The calf that comes next is certainly trimmer, going to be kind of a higher credibility calf than the one that stands directly ahead of him. I just want to open him up in his forerib, maybe give him a shot more foot and bone work. Same can be said about the calf that rounds out our class. Maybe just getting a little too plain in the shape that he offers today. Let's give those individuals a nice hand.
First with the that class went to Riley Hemmingson. Second, purple, Paula. Third, purple, Rachel Huntop. Fourth, with the blue, Nate Christensen. Fifth, blue, Levi Young. And sixth, with the blue, Shelby Heitman. Now we have class 4 coming into the ring, and we need class 5 and 6 lining up outside. Wade Spencer, we need you outside the show ring. Wade Spencer. Spencer, we need your calf outside the show ring. Wade Spencer.
Just a reminder to all beef exhibitors, all market beef exhibitors, you must sign the green destination sheet. It's like the carcass sheet last year, but you must sign that in the office and designate whether your tag number is going home, it's going on the truck, or it's going in the sale. So please make sure you do that so we can make sure we get the proper information. So that's all market beef exhibitors must designate if their calves are going home, on the truck, or in the sale. Also a reminder that your sale cards are due by 5 p.m. today, and the minimum sale weight for market beef is 1050.
Class 6, we need you to start coming over to the show ring and be outside the show ring. Class 6, come to the show ring.
One second. Okay, here's the order. It's 3, 3, and 2. The last one is the one that
Well, I don't think we have to spend much time talking about our class winner. That one wins this class, and he does so fairly handily. That one's just really good in terms of his muscle, and then obviously has the show steer look to go along with it. Be nice to see him as he comes back. The calf that comes in second, I think this one's just kind of a easy second as well. I think if you start to study him, he's just functional enough in his skeleton. He got some product. He's one that's probably just a little bit fresher than some of the ones down the line. I think he spurs up with some shape right there behind his shoulder. The calf that comes out in third, I think is probably just a little bit longer hipped. I like the set that he's got to his hock. He's really functional there. Want to open him up as you study him going away. He wants to get really kind of narrow there at the ground. I think you can give him a shot more muscle base at his quarter. The calf that comes out next, this is a good body calf. Young man is maybe having a harder time with him. He's wanting to be a little bit more rambunctious. But I think he's probably got some advantages as he can step in directly behind him. I think he's got a shot more power than the calf that comes ahead of him. Just fix him right there behind his shoulder, give him more forward. The calf that comes out next has got some look advantages, and he probably is just a little bit fresher than he offers. He just needs to have more of it in terms of dimension, especially as you step in right behind him. The calves that come next, I think maybe just a little bit bigger kind of calves that are going to have a farther end point. Certainly going to take a little bit more time on feed. The calf that's coming out right in front of me, I think is a little further along in its finish. Maybe offer some more fresh shape. Let's give those individuals a nice hand.
First with the purple in that class went to Braden Tarps. Second purple, Reese Northman. Third purple, Ethan Chambers. Fourth with the blue, Landon Leaders. Fifth blue, Madison Osmore. Sixth with the blue, Carter Davis. Seventh with the red, Michael Turner. And eighth with the red, Carter Davis. His calf number 4091 is the 8th place one. Now we have class 5 coming in. We need class 6 to line up outside the show ring. Then we'll pick our champion division 2 on this steer. Carly Miller, we need you outside the show ring. Carly Miller, outside the show ring, please. We've had a great show today and our weather has been perfect, but we also couldn't do this show without our volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers out here in the show ring, the ring people, and plus back behind and here at the desk. So I just want to thank all of them. I'll read their names, and then if you see them out and about, you can tell them thank you. Trevor Huff, Neil Darrington, Heidi Darrington, Matt Rocker, Dan Ryan, Brandon Forthman, Nick Minson, Jenny Vincent, Nevada Neese, Holly Miller, Jordan, Kathy Darrington, Tom Travey, Kay Rocker, Ashlyn Eckering, and also the entire West Bear Board for letting us have this show this year. And last year was not as much fun as it has been this year. So thank you to all. all that made the show go smoothly, and be sure to thank all your volunteers. Our judge today is Kinsey Freeman. She's from Aurora, Nebraska, and she works at the Aurora Co-op in the animal nutrition as an animal nutrition specialist. She is originally from Casper or Cheyenne, Wyoming, and she's been a judge at the Casper, Wyoming College and the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. So let's give her a round of applause too. She's done a great job. Thank you, Kinsey.
Well, we've got another really high quality individual that starts this class in terms of just kind of a show steer look to him. One that profiles really nicely. Young man does a nice job getting him stuck, and then he backs it up with all the mass and product that you need in a good fat steer. So it'd be fun to watch him come back. The black steer that comes in second, I think this is a good bodied steer. He spans with a lot of width and dimension up high. I think he's shapely right there behind his shoulder. He maybe wants to taper off there over his loin, but a big hipped kind of a steer. Maybe just want to give him a shot more foot and bone size as well. The red calf, I think, is a little bit stouter featured. I think he's got some dimension when you step in behind him. He gets a little plainer and coarser there through his front 1/3. You maybe want to lay him back in the angle of his shoulder just a touch. The black calf that comes next, one that's really kind of pushing a little bit more finish than maybe we see at the top end of this class. Want to freshen him up in his shape. The calf that comes out next, I think, has some advantage in terms of freshness. I think he's a little bit more youthful there through his front 1/3. He's going to take just a little bit more time before he puts on that same kind of finish that we see in the calf right ahead of him. And two bigger steers that maybe just play out of muscle just a hair. Let's give those young people a nice hand. Well, there's a little bit more sort here on the top end, and we're starting to get where there's some variance and where they're at in terms of finish. I guess for me, the steer that wins the class, he's just the most complete when it comes to composition. He's got some freshness and squareness of muscle shape, but he's still smooth in his cover. Got some dimension when you step in behind him as well. Maybe you want to fix him and lay him back in the angle of his shoulder, maybe give him a shot more foot and bone work, but I still think a nice steer that's got a lot of product-driven traits. The calf that comes out next, I think one that probably is just a little bit longer in terms of his maturity pattern. I think he's a calf that also offers some expression. You maybe get a little bit more disappointed as you handle him over his loin, but I still think a good bodied calf that's got some skeletal things to like in him. The calf that comes out next is probably the most intriguing of those top three in terms of his added length and extension. He's very fluid in his movement. I think he's maybe just getting a little bit plainer in the shape that he offers. You step in behind him, he maybe wants to play out a muscle just a little bit there through the base of his quarter. The calf that comes out in our fourth hole, this one is bigger. He's bigger hipped, he's stouter pinned, and offers some more dimension there. One that just needs to be fresher in the shape that he offers down the top side of his skeleton. Maybe want to change how he's built through his shoulder there. I think we've got a few calves here at the end of the line that maybe are not as fresh, I guess, in terms of the shape that they offer. The calf that comes out next, I think one that needs to be opened up in his body type and drop him down in his flank, give him a little bit more lower rib. He just reads a little bit harder to me today. And then the calves that come out in our final holes, I think just need to be powered up wherever you analyze them. Let's give all those individuals a nice hand.
First in that class with the purple, Tyler Christensen. Second purple, Malena Northman. Third purple, Charlie Brummett. Fourth purple, Luke Huntop. Fifth blue, Oliver Lettner. Sixth blue, Carly Miller. And seventh with the blue, Tanner Nelson. Now we'll be choosing our champion, Division II market steer.
Take a real next step.
Division III, Class 1, we need your calves outside the show ring. Division III, Class 1, outside the show ring, please.
I think we get out here in our middleweight drive, and we've got some really nice class winners. I think from top to bottom, this has been the most consistent division that we've seen all day. We've got animals that are good market animals, and then we've also got quite a few of them out here that just have that offer that added quality when it comes to look and some skeletal things. I think it comes down to two calves, and I'm probably fairly obvious. My poker face isn't great. Two calves down there towards the end of the line that came out of our heavier classes that I think it comes down to. I think there's some differences, and I'm just going to talk then just briefly about the differences I see. The young man that comes out of our, I guess, third to last class, showing just a steer that's very, very good in terms of his body. He offers a tremendous amount of mass down his top. He's stouter pinned than the steer that I'm going to talk about next, and I think he offers some more dimension there through his quarter. With that, I think he gets a little bit plainer in how he's built there through his shoulder and about his neck. But I still think that all of his pieces proportion, he's still a good looking steer. But when we compare him to the steer that's sitting right behind him, I think that's a steer that maybe just offers some more unique pieces when it comes to look. He actually blends together just a little bit smoother there behind his shoulder and into his forearm. He's not devoid of muscle by any means. And then skeletally, as you study him going around the ring, he's just very fluid in terms of his movement, very fresh shaped steer. Actually offers just a little bit more expression as you handle him right there behind his shoulder and back through his loin. Just two really, really nice steers where you see some differences. I'm going to go select your champion, but let's give all of our middleweight exhibitors a big hand.
Our champion Division II steer was shown by Wade Spencer, and he'll be presented a medal hanger donated by Robin and Lee Voss in memory of Harry Voss Jr. Our reserve champion is shown by Braden Tarps. Congratulations, boys. Now we have our last division, class 1. Class 2 needs to be lined up outside the show ring. Class 2 outside the show ring.
Are there any more of those sandwiches? Super. That sounds great. Can I have a bottle of water? Walk down my cold water.
afternoon at 5 o'clock, we will be having the apple pie auction. I'm not quite sure how many kids made pies, but there were quite a few, and they will be auctioned off here at the Exarban Pavilion. And the money goes directly into the West Potawatomi County 4-H program to support scholarships, awards, workshops, leadership activities, and camps. And so your support of this worthwhile fundraiser is greatly appreciated. So hope you come on over and you get to take home a buy it. So thank you. And tomorrow morning is a free pancake feed put on by the Farm Bureau. It goes from 7:30 to 9, and it's open to all 4-H members and their families. So stop on over at the 4-H building for free pancakes. And please don't forget to fill out your sale cards by 5 p.m. today. That's the deadline, 5 p.m. today, and also to fill out the destination sheet where your calf is going to go. If it's going to go home, then you're not, or to the locker, or wherever it's going to go. We need to know that.
I might try to run to the restroom when we get done with this class. That's okay. You need point in that direction? Yeah, I don't know where that is. We will help you.
Yeah.
We've got a nice class here and a nice place to start with this goldish, I guess I don't know what color exactly to call it, but the only white calf in here. So this calf, I think one that just easily overpowers the rest of the class in terms of sheer muscle and product. Big, stout featured type of a steer. Maybe you want to loosen him up in his skeleton, but with just sheer product and muscle, I think that's an easy place to start. Now, the calf that sits in second is actually the one that I would like to tie to when it comes to build and look. One that's longer and more extended, really functional when you set him into motion. He gets a little bit frailer in terms of his bone work, and I think that maybe matches the amount of muscle that he offers up high. I just really want to stouten him up in his pin set, allow him to drop down with some more dimension there through his quarter. The calf that comes out next, I think one that's got some shape and expression, certainly a stout featured one. I want to change this one, especially in how he handles his lower joints. Really wants to knuckle up in those pasterns. He maybe reads a little drier there through his flank. The calf that comes out next, one that's really long and extended, a high-performing type of a steer that's still got some shape and expression. He's maybe one that you want to just relax in his angles, wants to get kind of upright there. The steer that comes out next, I think one that if you want to talk in comparison to that steer right ahead of him, matches those advantages when it comes to length of body, really kind of a long, extended fronted type of a steer. He's one that just kind of plays out of muscle, especially as you read him over his loin. He wants to narrow up in his pin set. The two calves that we have coming out next, I just want to power up, match the added finish that they offer today with a little bit more muscle and shape. Let's give those individuals a hand.
Our first purple in that class went to Brave Charge. Second purple, Dalton Miller. fifth with the blue, Pearl Huddle, sixth with the blue, Jacob Pollock, and seventh with the blue, Emily Sorensen. Then we have class 2 coming into the ring. And we need class 3 and 4 to start lining up outside.
That's going right. Yeah.
She was like, can I?
Yeah.
And I was like, you can do whatever you want.
I want to go on too.
I told you. Or Dan.
If I could have your attention here, we have a little break here. A lot of you probably have noticed the new sign up here in memory of Richard Tornado. I wish we'd all take a second right now and acknowledge that to the Tornado family. Richard passed away last December. He was on the fair board, down at Playland, up here. He was the beef superintendent. He's on the sale committee. He spent countless hours up here working for this. I don't think we can thank the family enough and the fair board for the renaming of the exorbitant pavilion in memory of Richard Tornado. Thank you. Kathy, Richard's wife Kathy standing over here. Mark, if you're around, right here's Mark. Marcia and Kevin, I don't know if they're here today or not. Thank you very much for everything that Richard did. Thank you. Hey, grab me a water, would you please? I gotta start drinking.
Maggie Huff, we need your calf outside the show ring. Maggie Huff, your calf outside the show ring. Thank you. The cattleman just said they still have hamburgers and steak sandwiches left, so go on over and get your second one. And they will keep selling until they run out.
Well, we've got a couple of calves here at the top end that there's a lot of quality to. Both of them are carrying just a little bit of bloat to them. So I think it makes them a little bit more hesitant as we get them into motion. But I still think that you can read a lot of pieces of quality in both of them. The red calf that I'm going to use to win the class, I think it's just a little smoother in terms of his finish. One that's really square and fresh there behind his shoulder. If I can change him, I'd like to just level him out ever so slightly there through his hip. But I still think one that's got some stoutness and feature. I guess for me, he's a little fuller in his forearm and blends smoother from his shoulder back. than the calf that we have sitting inside. This is one that I like in terms of the expression of muscle that he has. He probably sits down just a little bit wider and squarer there as he goes away from you. I guess for me, he needs to be opened up right there behind his shoulder, opened up in his forearm. Some of that's exaggerated with the bloat that he's got going on, but I still think a nice calf to be sitting second. The steer that we have sitting in third, this one's longer and more extended. He's a little smoother about his neck than either of the steers ahead of him. He's one that just needs to be powered up, especially when you step in behind him. The steer that comes next is one to be a little bit rambunctious for the young man. I think this one's kind of just a good bodied, especially there in his middle rib. I think he offers some depth of rib in comparison to the steer directly in front of him. I just need this one to just be a little bit squarer and fresher as you read him down its top. The two steers that we round out the